Imagine a country where the capital is slowly sinking into the sea, where giant dragons still roam wild, and where over 17,000 islands create one of the most diverse nations on Earth. A place where ancient tribes preserve centuries-old traditions, volcanoes shape everyday life, and the world's richest marine ecosystem lies beneath crystal-clear waters. Welcome to Indonesia, a country filled with astonishing realities that most travelers never get to see. Today, we're counting down 10 of the most surprising facts that make Indonesia unlike anywhere else on the planet. The capital that is slowly sinking. Imagine living in a capital city that is literally disappearing beneath your feet. That is the reality for millions of people in Jakarta, Indonesia's largest city and former national capital. Often described as one of the fastest sinking major cities on Earth, parts of northern Jakarta have been sinking by more than 8 inches, or about 20 centimeters, per year due to excessive groundwater extraction, rapid urban development, and the city's soft coastal soil. Some neighborhoods now sit several meters below sea level, making flooding an increasingly common part of everyday life. Jakarta is home to more than 11 million people, while its greater metropolitan area has grown to over 30 million residents, making it one of the largest urban regions on the planet. More than 13 rivers flow through the city before reaching the Java Sea, and during the rainy season, heavy rainfall combined with land subsidence can overwhelm drainage systems. Massive seawalls, pumping stations, and flood control projects help reduce the impact, but engineers continue searching for long-term solutions. The situation became so serious that Indonesia made one of the boldest decisions in modern history, moving its capital to an entirely new city. The new capital, Nusantara, is being built on the island of Borneo, hundreds of miles away from Jakarta. The project is expected to cost around $35 billion and will be developed in multiple phases through the middle of the century. Government offices have already begun relocating, although Jakarta will remain Indonesia's economic and financial powerhouse for years to come. Despite these challenges, Jakarta remains a city full of energy, towering skyscrapers, vibrant street markets, and one of Southeast Asia's busiest economies. Every day, millions of people continue to live, work, and build their future in a city that refuses to give up. Few places on Earth better demonstrate humanity's determination to adapt than a capital that continues to thrive while slowly sinking into the sea. The islands with no roads. Indonesia is not just a country. It is an ocean-sized maze of islands, islands, villages, volcanoes, forests, and coastlines scattered between the Indian and Pacific Oceans. With more than 17,000 islands, Indonesia is the largest archipelagic nation on Earth, and that alone makes daily life here unlike almost anywhere else. While outsiders often imagine Bali or Jakarta, much of Indonesia lives on smaller islands where roads are limited. Bridges do not exist, and the sea is the real highway. In many remote communities, boats are not just for fishing or tourism. They are school buses, ambulances, delivery trucks, and lifelines. Children may cross rivers or travel by small wooden boats to reach school. Families depend on boats to bring food, fuel, medicine, building materials, and news from the outside world. In some island villages, a trip that looks short on a map can take hours because people must wait for tides, weather, and available transport. This geography makes Indonesia both breathtaking and difficult to govern. The nation stretches for thousands of miles across the equator, with major islands like Java, Sumatra, Sulawesi, Kalimantan, and Papua, plus thousands of smaller islands that many travelers will never hear about. Some islands are crowded and highly developed, while others remain quiet, rural, and deeply connected to the sea. That is why life in Indonesia can change completely after a single boat ride. One island may have modern roads, malls, and airports, while the next may depend on fishing boats, dirt paths, and weekly supply shipments. For millions of Indonesians, the ocean is not a barrier. It is the road that connects families, markets, ports, and survival. This is what makes Indonesia so shocking. It is one country, but it feels like a floating world made of thousands of separate lives. The island where dragons still rule. On a handful of small islands in eastern Indonesia, the world's largest living lizard still rules the land. The Komodo dragon is not a creature from prehistoric movies. It is a real predator that continues to roam freely in the wild. Growing up to 10 feet long and weighing more than 150 pounds, these giant reptiles have survived for millions of years, making them one of the closest living relatives to Earth's ancient reptiles. Komodo dragons are found naturally only in a small part of Indonesia, mainly within Komodo National Park and on the islands of Komodo, Rinca, Gili Motang, Gili Dasami, and parts of western Flores. Because their natural range is so limited, seeing one in the wild is an experience that exists nowhere else on Earth. The national park, recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, protects both the dragons and the unique ecosystems they inhabit. These powerful hunters rely on incredible patience rather than speed. They often wait silently along animal trails before launching a sudden attack. Their sharp teeth, powerful jaws, muscular tails, and highly developed sense of smell make them efficient predators capable of detecting the scent of carrion from several miles away. Although they usually feed on deer, wild pigs, and smaller animals, they are also known to scavenge whenever the opportunity arises. Scientists estimate that only around 3,000 wild Komodo dragons remain today. Habitat changes, climate change, rising sea levels, and declining prey populations continue to threaten their future, making conservation more important than ever. Rangers carefully manage tourism to protect both visitors and these remarkable reptiles, allowing people to witness one of nature's most extraordinary survivors without disturbing their fragile habitat. Few countries can claim to be the only home of a legendary animal found nowhere else in the wild. In Indonesia, dragons are not myths or fantasy. They are living symbols of a nation whose natural wonders continue to surprise even the most experienced travelers. The world's most dangerous ring of fire. Imagine living in a country where the ground can shake without warning, and volcanoes are simply part of everyday life. That is the reality for millions of Indonesians. Indonesia sits directly on the Pacific Ring of Fire, the most geologically active region on Earth, where several massive tectonic plates collide beneath the surface. This extraordinary location has shaped the country's dramatic landscapes while also making it one of the most earthquake-prone nations in the world. Indonesia is home to around 120 active volcanoes, more than any other country on the planet. Some of them, including Merapi, Semeru, Anak Krakatau, and Mount Ibu, remain active today, with eruptions occurring regularly. While these volcanoes can pose serious challenges, they also create incredibly fertile soil that supports millions of farmers. As a result, some of the world's most densely populated farming communities exist on the slopes of active volcanoes, where people have learned to live alongside nature's immense power. The country's volcanic history has influenced the entire world. In 1883, the eruption of Krakatoa became one of the most powerful volcanic events ever recorded, producing explosions heard thousands of miles away and triggering massive tsunamis across the region. Today, its volcanic successor, Anak Krakatau, continues to rise from the sea, serving as a reminder that Indonesia's landscape is still constantly evolving. Modern Indonesia has invested heavily in disaster monitoring and early warning systems. Hundreds of seismic stations, volcano observatories, satellite monitoring, and evacuation plans help scientists track volcanic activity and reduce risks for nearby communities. Even so, nature remains unpredictable, and Indonesians have developed remarkable resilience after generations of living in one of Earth's most dynamic environments. The tribe that lives above the clouds. Far beyond Indonesia's crowded cities lies a world that feels almost untouched by time. Hidden deep within the rugged highlands of Papua, surrounded by towering mountains and thick tropical forests, live the Dani people, one of the country's most fascinating indigenous communities. For centuries, their villages remained isolated by steep valleys and rugged terrain, allowing many traditions to survive long after the modern world transformed the rest of Indonesia. The Baliem Valley, where many Dani communities live, sits more than 5,000 feet above sea level and is encircled by some of the highest mountains in Oceania. Until the late 1930s, very few outsiders had ever seen the valley. When aerial explorers first spotted thousands of cultivated fields and villages hidden among the mountains, the discovery surprised the world and revealed a thriving society that had developed largely in isolation. Agriculture remains the foundation of Dani life. Sweet potatoes are the primary staple crop, grown in carefully maintained gardens using traditional farming techniques passed down through generations. Families also raise pigs, which are highly valued not only as a food source, but also as symbols of wealth, social status, and important ceremonial exchanges. Daily life is deeply connected to nature, with knowledge of the land, seasons, and local environment playing a vital role in the community. Although schools, healthcare, roads, and communication have gradually reached parts of the region, many Dani villages continue to preserve their language, customs, music, dances, and distinctive architecture. Visitors who travel into the Baliem Valley often witness cultural festivals featuring traditional clothing, mock tribal battles, and ancient celebrations that reflect a heritage stretching back countless generations. These events are organized as cultural performances and community celebrations, helping preserve traditions while sharing them with the outside world. The funeral that lasts for months. In one part of Indonesia, a funeral is not something that happens a few days after a person dies. For the Toraja people of South Sulawesi, it can take weeks, months, or even longer before the final ceremony begins. During that time, the deceased is treated with deep respect and remains an important part of family life, while relatives prepare for one of the most significant events in their culture. For the Toraja, a funeral is not simply a farewell. It is a celebration of a person's life, family, and community. Because these ceremonies are large and highly meaningful, families often spend a long time saving money and gathering relatives from across Indonesia and around the world. Thousands of guests may attend, turning the event into one of the largest family reunions many people will ever experience. The ceremony itself is filled with music, traditional clothing, prayers, processions, and cultural performances that have been passed down for generations. Every detail reflects respect for ancestors and the belief that honoring loved ones strengthens the bond between past and present. One of the most recognizable symbols of Toraja culture is the water buffalo, which has long represented wealth, prestige, and social status. These animals play an important ceremonial role, and families may spend years preparing for the event. After the ceremonies conclude, many families place their loved ones in elaborate cliffside tombs, carved caves, or specially built stone burial sites overlooking the mountains. Wooden figures known as tau tau are sometimes positioned on balconies outside the cliffs, symbolically watching over the valley below. These remarkable landscapes have made Tanah Toraja one of Indonesia's most distinctive cultural destinations, attracting visitors interested in history, architecture, and living traditions. The island where orangutans still rule. Imagine stepping into a rainforest where one of humanity's closest relatives swings silently through the treetops. In Indonesia, that experience is still possible. The vast tropical forests of Sumatra and Borneo are among the last places on Earth where wild orangutans continue to survive. Sharing nearly 97% of human DNA, these remarkable great apes are famous for their intelligence, problem-solving abilities, and surprisingly human-like behavior. The word orangutan comes from the Malay language and literally means person of the forest. Adult males can stretch their arms more than 7 feet from fingertip to fingertip, allowing them to move effortlessly through the forest canopy without touching the ground. They spend most of their lives high above the jungle floor, building a brand new nest from branches and leaves almost every evening before going to sleep. Unlike many other primates, orangutans usually live solitary lives. Mothers raise a single baby for an exceptionally long time, often caring for their young for up to 8 years before they become independent. This is one of the longest childhoods of any animal on Earth, giving young orangutans years to learn how to find food, recognize hundreds of forest plants, and survive in one of the world's most complex ecosystems. Indonesia is home to 2 wild orangutan species, the Bornean orangutan and the Sumatran orangutan, while the critically endangered Tapanuli orangutan survives only in a small area of northern Sumatra. Together, these forests represent one of the last strongholds for the species. National parks, wildlife reserves, and conservation organizations continue working to protect their habitat, restore damaged forests, and rescue orphaned orangutans affected by habitat loss. The world's biggest Muslim nation. When most people think about the world's largest Muslim country, they often imagine the Middle East. But the answer is actually Indonesia. With a population of more than 280 million people, Indonesia is the 4th most populous country on Earth, and around 87% of its citizens identify as Muslim. That means the country is home to the largest Muslim population anywhere in the world, with well over 240 million Muslims living across its thousands of islands. What surprises many visitors even more is that Indonesia is far from culturally uniform. Instead of following a single tradition, the country is an extraordinary blend of religions, languages, and ethnic groups. More than 700 living languages are spoken throughout the archipelago, and over 300 ethnic communities have developed their own customs, clothing, music, architecture, and local cuisines. Traveling from one island to another can feel like crossing into an entirely different country. Perhaps the best example is Bali. Although Indonesia has the world's largest Muslim population, Bali is predominantly Hindu and is famous for its thousands of temples, colorful ceremonies, and daily offerings placed outside homes, shops, and shrines. Elsewhere, visitors can find ancient Buddhist temples, historic Christian communities, and indigenous traditions that have been preserved for generations. This remarkable diversity exists within one national identity, reflected in Indonesia's official motto, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, meaning unity in diversity. Religion also shapes everyday life in fascinating ways. Across the country, the call to prayer echoes from countless mosques each day, while nearby communities may celebrate completely different religious festivals according to their own traditions. Rather than being defined by a single culture, Indonesia has built its identity on coexistence among many different peoples and beliefs. The underwater world. Richer than the Amazon. Most people think of Indonesia as a land of volcanoes and tropical islands, but its greatest treasure is actually hidden beneath the waves. Stretching across the heart of the Coral Triangle, Indonesia is widely recognized as the global center of marine biodiversity. Scientists often describe this region as the Amazon of the oceans, because nowhere else on Earth contains such an extraordinary concentration of underwater life. Indonesia's seas are home to more than 500 species of reef-building corals, over 3/4 of all known coral species on the planet. More than 2,000 species of reef fish have been recorded here, along with sea turtles, manta rays, whale sharks, dolphins, dugongs, and countless other marine creatures. Every dive can reveal something completely different, making Indonesia one of the world's premier destinations for underwater exploration. Perhaps the most spectacular place of all is Raja Ampat, an island chain off the coast of West Papua. Its crystal-clear waters contain one of the highest levels of marine biodiversity ever documented by scientists. In some locations, divers can encounter hundreds of fish species and dozens of coral species during a single dive. This incredible richness has made Raja Ampat a dream destination for photographers, marine biologists, and divers from around the globe. Indonesia's underwater world is not only beautiful, it also supports millions of lives. Coastal communities have depended on the sea for food, transportation, and livelihoods for generations. Healthy coral reefs protect shorelines from powerful waves, provide nursery grounds for countless fish species, and help sustain one of the world's largest fisheries. Recognizing their importance, Indonesia has expanded marine protected areas and strengthened conservation efforts to preserve these fragile ecosystems for future generations. The country that feels like 20 different nations. After traveling across Indonesia, one incredible realization becomes impossible to ignore. This does not feel like a single country. It feels like dozens of completely different worlds connected by the sea. From futuristic skyscrapers in Jakarta to ancient temples in Java, from the famous beaches of Bali to the untouched rainforests of Papua, every major island offers a landscape, culture, language, and way of life unlike the last. Few nations on Earth contain such extraordinary diversity within a single border. Indonesia stretches for more than 3,000 miles from west to east, making it one of the widest countries in the world. Crossing the archipelago can take several hours by plane, and traveling from one island to another often feels like entering an entirely new nation. Foods, traditional houses, local languages, clothing, music, and even architectural styles can change dramatically after just one short flight or ferry ride. With more than 300 ethnic groups and over 700 living languages, Indonesia has built one of the richest cultural mosaics on the planet. Nature is equally astonishing. Active volcanoes rise above emerald rice terraces. Ancient rainforests shelter rare wildlife found nowhere else. Coral reefs surround thousands of tropical islands, and remote mountain valleys preserve traditions that have endured for centuries. Indonesia is one of only a handful of countries classified as a mega-diverse nation, meaning it ranks among the world's richest places for plants, animals, and unique ecosystems. Whether exploring dense jungles, diving into vibrant coral reefs, or hiking volcanic peaks, visitors quickly realize that every region tells a completely different story. Indonesia is also Southeast Asia's largest economy and one of the world's fastest-growing nations, where modern cities continue to expand alongside communities that still follow traditions passed down through countless generations. This remarkable balance between progress and heritage gives the country a character unlike anywhere else. Indonesia is far more than a tropical vacation destination. It is a land of incredible contrasts, where ancient traditions, breathtaking wildlife, powerful volcanoes, and modern megacities exist side by side. If this journey surprised you, don't forget to like the video, share it with fellow travelers, and subscribe for more fascinating documentaries exploring the world's most extraordinary places. Until next time, keep exploring and never stop discovering.